My name is Elena Vargas. I am 28 years old. I stood outside the cafe breathing the cold night air. My phone screen glowed. Scheduled post ready. Inside, my parents were toasting 40 years of marriage. They thought I had stepped out to calm my nerves. I had stepped out to make sure the truth landed exactly where it belonged. 30 minutes earlier, I sat at their table. My mother leaned toward me, smiling for the guests, and then hissed, "I wish you had never been born." The room froze. The band kept playing, cheerful and completely out of place. I did not cry. I pushed my chair back and stood up. I smoothed my dress, looked her straight in the eyes, and said, "Then I will disappear." My parents had no idea my farewell had already begun counting down. Where are you watching this tonight? In a quiet kitchen, a parked car, or your own small room? Echoes of Life is here with you. 30 minutes before my mother said those words, I stood behind the dessert table arranging flowers on the cake. The cafe smelled of fresh coffee, buttercream, and expensive perfume. Warm lights hung like a magazine photo shoot. My parents posed for photos, smiling like saints. I had helped build that perfect image. Alejandro, my older brother, ruled the bar area, telling surgery stories as if he saved lives every day. People laughed and leaned in, hungry for his approval. Valeria stood surrounded by guests, polished and radiant. Lawyers, judges, everyone tilted their heads toward her like she was light itself. No one asked about my art. They never did. If my name came up, it was only as an afterthought. "This is mine," my mother would say, almost amused. "She draws." 3 weeks earlier, I stopped calling it favoritism. I went to my parents' house with invitation samples. On the dining table, a folder lay half open. The first page carried my name in large letters, Elena Vargas University Fund. I should not have looked. I looked anyway. The balance was practically zero. Nothing had been spent on my tuition, books, or rent. Only transfers to pay off Alejandro's debts. Transfers for Valeria's bar exam expenses. Dates from years ago lined up like a confession. Then I saw my mother's handwriting on a statement. "Anyway, she will never make money with art. Better to invest in real futures." My stomach turned cold. I heard my father's voice in my head, changing the subject every time. I remembered every eye roll when I mentioned a gallery. I remembered always being introduced as the extra daughter. That night I did not scream. I did not confront them at the table. I simply started paying attention. Because once you see the numbers, you stop believing the speeches. I decided my silence was officially over. After finding those statements, I began recording. Not dramatic scenes. Quiet recordings made when you have already stopped doubting yourself. I stood in hallways with the phone in my pocket. I washed dishes, listening through cracked doors. I pretended to look for tape in the kitchen drawer and hit record. My mother's voice came first, sharp and casual. "Art is not a real career. Sometimes I wish we had stopped at 2 children." My father's words were softer but cut deeper. "At least the other 2 turned out well. Elena is just expensive." Valeria laughed one night. "In a year she will be back living here." Valeria called me the practice child. Then added, "We are carrying her dead weight." Each clip was short, 10 or 15 seconds, enough to be undeniable. I saved them in a folder called audio. I kept smiling as if nothing had changed. Then my parents asked me for a favor. "Elena, you are the artistic one," my mother said. "Make the anniversary party look beautiful." I smiled and said yes. A week later, I offered my own suggestion. "Let me handle the slideshow, a tribute video, wedding photos, family memories." My mother did not even look up. "Fine," she said. "Just don't make it weird, okay?" So I made it classic, at least the first half. I scanned their proudest photos: wedding smiles, baby Alejandro, baby Valeria. My baby photo pushed to the edge. Soft piano, clean titles, infinite love, family first. Then I created a folder on my computer and named it Truth. Inside I placed the recordings, added screenshots of the transfers, zoomed in on my mother's handwritten note. I left each one long enough to be read. Over everything I laid my own art, the pieces they refused to hang. Portraits that turned their smiles into masks with their real voices playing underneath. The paintings became evidence. Sophia, the barista at the cafe, was my only witness. She saw the first cut and whispered, "Don't hesitate." We planned the moment right after the speeches, when emotions were high. A surprise tribute, they would call it. I exported the file with an innocent name. I made 2 backups, one on the cafe laptop, one in my bag, and a scheduled post just in case. My gift was already waiting in the projector. All they had to do was press play. If this were your family, your life, what would you do? Comment 1 if you would stay silent and let them keep stealing your story. Comment 2 if you would expose everything and force them to answer in public. The dinner became a blur of clinking silverware and polite laughter. Hanging lights sparkled overhead. My father's business partners toasted 40 years of success. Alejandro rose first, confident and rehearsed. He spoke of sacrifice and family values. Valeria followed, soft and radiant, thanking our parents for believing in the right dreams. Everyone applauded. Then my mother took the microphone. Her smile was practiced and bright. "We are so blessed," she said, voice trembling at the perfect moment. "Our children have made us so proud." Her gaze passed over me as if I were furniture. "Some of them," she added, and the room laughed. Someone suggested I say a few words. My mother laughed too loudly. "Oh, Elena," she said, raising her glass. "She is better with her little drawings than with speeches." That sentence should have hurt. I barely registered it. What happened next did. She leaned toward me, still smiling for the room. Her voice dropped to a private hiss, but the microphone was inches from her hand. It caught everything. "Sometimes we really wish you had never been born." Silence crashed down. A fork clattered against a plate. The band kept playing, cheerful and wrong. All faces turned to me. I pushed my chair back slowly, the sound like a blade. I stood up, smoothed the front of my dress, and looked her straight in the eyes. "Then I will disappear," I said. Color drained from her face. She grabbed my wrist. "Elena, sit down. You are making a scene." "A scene is what happens when no one knows the truth," I said. I turned to the guests. "You all came to celebrate their love story. Do yourselves a favor. Stay for the sequel." I walked out before my knees could shake. Behind me, chairs scraped. My father cursed under his breath. Someone called my name like an order. I passed the sound booth. Sophia stood there, hand near the panel. Her eyes asked, "Now?" I did not speak, only gave a small nod. Outside, the night air hit like a slap, cold and clean. I already had the phone in my hand. The scheduled post waited with my text. The private upload was ready to go public. A draft email waited with links and screenshots. I slipped into the narrow alley beside the cafe, brick wall against my shoulder. I checked the time. 12 minutes past 18, still ahead. My phone vibrated. They're acting like nothing happened. "Ready?" I replied, "Play it when they ask for the slideshow. Don't stop it." Then another message. "Elena, it's playing." They applauded at first, seeing the tribute video of me. I smiled in the darkness because the next cut went black and my mother's real voice was about to fill the room. Inside, they thought they were watching love. They were watching proof. The slideshow began with soft piano and wedding photos. My parents relaxed. Guests smiled and raised their glasses. Alejandro squeezed my father's shoulder like a proud son. Valeria wiped her eyes like the perfect daughter. My mother sat straighter, enjoying the applause. Then the screen went black, the music stopped, and my mother's real voice came through the speakers. "Art is not a real career." Some people laughed, confused. My mother's smile trembled. The black screen faded into a bank statement. "Elena Vargas University Fund Balance 0. A murmur of shock swept the tables like cold air. Then the highlighted transfers appeared one after another, to Alejandro's debt, to Valeria's bar exam expenses, dates and amounts lined up like a spine. My father's voice overlapped the numbers. "At least the other two turned out well." Someone dropped a glass too hard. My mother stood up, hands shaking. "That is fake," she snapped. But the next clip played before she finished. "If we had not had her, we would have retired already." The sentence played over one of my paintings, her smile made of glass, her shadow twisting behind. Alejandro lunged furiously toward the projector. My father followed, red-faced. They yanked cables as if they could erase the past. Too late. Half the room was already recording. A neighbor whispered, "Is that her handwriting?" Someone asked my mother, "Did you write that note?" My mother tried to laugh it off. The laugh died quickly. Alejandro's colleagues stepped away. Valeria's mentors stopped smiling. Sophia wrote from inside, "People are crying. Your father's client is shouting near the bar. Your mother is yelling at the manager." My phone began vibrating with unknown numbers. Some messages hateful, others soft and embarrassed. At the 30-minute mark, my scheduled post went public. The link opened like a door. Shares climbed fast, comments even faster. Then I sent the email with one click. Hospital board contacts. Valeria's mentors. My father's top clients. Only links and screenshots. Nothing emotional, nothing to argue. Alejandro called first. "You destroyed everything," he spat. I asked, "Did you use my fund?" He stayed silent. Valeria called next, voice breaking. "You didn't have to do it this way. You didn't have to laugh either," I said. My father called last. "If you take it down, we can fix this." He offered a new story, me as the unstable daughter. I said no. I did not go back inside. I did not check if they apologized. I left the truth where they had always performed. In the alley, I heard the muffled shouting. For years I had been the family secret. Tonight they were. They wanted me invisible. I made the record permanent. 3 months later, the noise had not completely died, but my life finally sounded like mine. The video kept traveling without my permission, appearing in waiting rooms and church lobbies. My mother stopped going to Mass. Alejandro's hospital board opened a review. Valeria's position was reconsidered by her mentor. It did not heal my childhood, but it proved I had not imagined it. What changed were my mornings. I woke up without a knot in my throat. I made coffee and answered only respectful messages. I blocked numbers that arrived with insults. I stopped explaining myself to people who fed on silence. Then the art world found me. A gallerist named Lena asked to see my work. She offered me an exhibition and a title, Conditional Love. I signed the contract with steady hands for the first time. My future carried my own name. The opening night was full and bright. My paintings hung on white walls, receipts, bank statements, and torn apologies turned into color and texture. One piece silenced the room. Its title was My Mother's Sentence. After the applause, my father called asking if he could come talk and help my mother. I said I did not know. Then I added, "Do not come to my door." Later I saw my mother outside the gallery window without makeup, clutching her bag. Her call lit up my screen. I let it ring until it stopped. I did not disappear. I simply stopped performing for them. Peace is not forgiveness. It is distance with the truth intact. Friends, what do you think of this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you want more stories like this? Thank you for listening to today's story. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next story.